So far, he also has all the bonus points, being top of the order 2 sessions now. The NHRA Full Throttle Drag Racing Series. It's the countdown to the championship, and it continues here in Reading, Pennsylvania for the Auto Plus Nationals. Now, the qualifying, of course, taking advantage of ESPN3 right now, but you can see the full qualifying late Saturday night at 12:30, and of course, final elimination Sunday at 7. And the standings right now: Pro Stock Motorcycle with Eddie Krawiec sitting up there number 1, followed by Hector Arana and then Andrew Hines. And Karen Stouffer, Matt Smith just moved up to 6, going around Angie to do so. Mike Phillips is 8.
So the top 12 that carry over, you see Steve Johnson, that number 9 spot. Jimmy Underdahl, he's in that countdown to the championship in the 10th. Chip Ellis's time from the 2nd session held on for that 12th and final transfer position with a 6:97.70 laps time.
And those not qualified, and remember, as Mike said, if you get a total rainout on Saturday, then the top 16 are going to count here. So you see them as Tonglet, Savoy, Guedera, and Whitaker. That would fill out your field if everything ends right now. Let's take a look at Pro Stock Motorcycle points as we give them to you current up to this session. So the little points are in there. Eddie Krawiec, number 1. Karen's just 69 back. Matt Smith is there. Everybody down to the do or done line certainly is within reach, and I'm wondering about Michael Phillips, whether or not he ought to be over that.
Well, he won in Dallas. If he can win here again, he could definitely get over that do or done line. That's basically, doesn't mean you're out of it. It just means you better do something pretty quick if you're below that line, if you want to get back in this thing.
Well, we've got Eddie Krawiec on headset, number 1 qualifier. Looking pretty good, guy, and we were talking at the dinner table last night, and we said 200-mile-an-hour barrier. It's awful damp in the air, though, here, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. We don't have the air that we probably expected to have. But, you know, if the rain holds off tomorrow and cool temperatures, you never know what you're going to see out here. You know, Reading produces fast DTs. It always does. It's a great facility here, and the great October air. So, more important, Screaming Eagle, Vance and Hines, Harley Davidson went to the other end twice, 82, 83, good laps, good mile an hour. I'm excited. All I have to do here is just make good, clean laps down the track, and that's what I came to do.
Eddie, it's Mike Dunn. I watched both your runs, and you've had very good 60-foot times, running good mile an hour. Where do you think there's some improvement in that Harley Davidson to maybe pick up a couple hundreds?
I tugged a little bit that lap, so we definitely left probably 100th on the plate in 60-foot. I really think 81 was about all that you can get out there, and you know, just about making good laps, good clean runs, and being consistent out here, and more important, showing the competition what we got.
Maple Grove is such a great place to race. It's Dave. You know, when you guys take the motorcycles down there, there's a bump at that top end, and then it looks like the track kind of wants to go down a hill a little bit, down into those trees. And I want to know what that feels like, trying to decelerate from 190 miles an hour and kind of have that little upset stomach feeling when you kind of go up and over.
If you come down here, I'll punch you in your stomach. It sort of gives you that feeling. but you get a little nervous coming up here. This is the one track that in the shutdown area gets a little hairy, you know, but thank God they put that extra couple hundred feet after the finish line, so it makes it nice and easy on us, you know, and we don't have to really rush to break. In years past, we never had that runoff, but now that we do, I think it's a little safer, and more important, it's as they make improvements, I think it makes rider comfort a little better.
Especially without a roll cage.
Yeah.
Hey, Eddie, it's Lewis here. How's it going? Nice to see you.
Oh, wonderful, Lewis.
What would it mean if you could become the first ever driver to go over 200 in a motorcycle? I know you know the history of the sport. Last guy to do it was Warren Johnson in Pro Stock. If you could be the first to last barrier, what would that mean to you?
Would mean all, you know, everything. It is the last barrier. You know, that 6-second barrier was probably the most important one, and Andrew got that. And for me, if I could be his teammate and get that 200-mile-an-hour mark, that would mean everything. You know, that's a milestone. It's like I say, you look at everybody in Top Fuel that still argues who went 200 first. So I want to definitely be that guy. If the opportunity arises, hopefully I'm the one that gets it. I think we're going to need a little bit of a tailwind out here. I don't think we naturally aspirated make enough horsepower to do it in pure horsepower conditions. So I think we're going to need a little Mother Nature help with some wind.
Hey, Eddie, John Kernan here. I want to go back to something you said about tugging on the bike. Now, when you guys are on one of these quarter-mile passes, you know, you're approaching 200 miles an hour, how much actual work, besides just the shifting and trying to hit those shift points, which are very important, but what's a ride like from your perspective? I mean, how busy are you as far as keeping that bike straight?
Well, I'll tell you, those last 2 laps that I made, going 683 and 682, were actually really smooth, and it gave me a lot of time to think on the motorcycle and sort of really know what I'm doing or what I'm hearing, and that's where the benefit comes into it. When you're riding a motorcycle and it's not going so smooth and so straight down the track, you struggle to really think about what's going on, and I do see an advantage of when you make smooth, clean runs, you can go back and tell your crew chief or the tuner what it's doing throughout the run, and I think it gives you that little bit of an edge. So I feel my Harley Davidson here is going to make awesome runs all weekend down the track. I'm pretty confident. I got an awesome motorcycle, and more important, I feel I'm doing my job as a racer, and if I can continue to do that, hopefully there's a championship in my future.
Well, Eddie, you just went the extra mile to spend all this time with us on ESPN3. Thank you, and good luck this weekend, #1 qualifier.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That's the Harley Davidson screaming what?
Don't even. Oh, Reed.
Hey.
That was Dave Reed.
Just a gentle whack. It's the Screaming Eagle. Good job, man.
Hey, Reef, don't worry. I'll take you up on that punch in the stomach. Come on down here.
I kind of just welcomed myself right into that, didn't I?
And Mike and I will hold him.
No problem. Come on down. Thanks, guys.
Well, there's Melanie Troxel, and she's part of the story of this weekend because normally we would see her in a funny car, one of the Burgess funny cars, but we won't. And it's because Leah Pruitt is in that car. Now, both of them seem quite agreeable to that. Melanie is not in the countdown to the championship, not in the playoffs, and Pruitt is looking for an opportunity to become a full funny car driver, and so they turned the car over to Leah this weekend, give her a chance to do just exactly that. John Kernan.
And Paul, you know, I am taking questions from my Twitter followers, and this one comes from Bernie. I'd like to know how Leah feels about driving both Pro Mod and Funny Car in 2012. Now, I had a chance over the last 2 weeks to talk a lot to Leah, and it was interesting to hear her talk about the differences in you know, that Melanie was facing when she was racing the same weekend doing a Pro Mod and also doing a funny car. Well, Leah experienced that at Charlotte because she tested the funny car on Monday, and you actually have to slow down your reactions more in a Pro Mod car than you do a funny car because you're going to have to manhandle or woman handle the funny car. But I think that Leah, in my conversations with her, if it goes down to where she's running full-time in Pro Mod and in funny car next year, she'll be just fine with that, and she knows how to do the adjustments, just to answer Bernie's question there.
No doubt Leah excited. I spoke to her, took her photograph for the show earlier today, and hopefully Melanie Troxel will have a good day as a spectator, and I know her pretty well. She's not a great spectator like most of us who love drag racing. We want to be involved. And by the way, just like John said about the Twitter account, I have one. It's at LBStatGuy. So check it out if you want to send me some information, and maybe I can answer some of your questions and ask questions for some of the folks in the booth here. So please feel free to follow me on Twitter.
Okay, I got to cap you guys off
Hold on,
Leah, because I asked her why she's not a blonde anymore, and I will not answer that until later this weekend, and don't you say anything.
Really? Oh. Hey, for what it's worth, I want to be part of the Twitter parade, too. I just got a Twitter account, so search me out, find me, and yeah.
What's a Twitter media?
Pro Stock is ready to qualify now. Their second session. There is Erica Enders. She raced in the semis for the first time in 4 races a week ago at Dallas and moved up 2 positions, 5th to 3rd in the points. It's Buddy Perkinson on the other side, and Bob Bliddens helping Buddy out.
Double red lights at the starting line. Remember that disqualifying doesn't matter. You're just basically seeing what.
210.05.
If that was eliminations, the first red light would have been the disqualification.
Came back up. Yeah, I heard it.
You hear the talk between Erica and Dave Conley, her crew chief. Erica remains in 5th. Here we go again. You still haven't moved the do or done line. You're still right under Greg Anderson as we look at Pro Stock points.
If Jason
Frank Gugliotta got a new car this weekend, and a red car, that Mustang, that is Grace Howell, her third race in Pro Stock car. Last race at Charlotte, she did not qualify.
Well, right now you got a pair of Mustangs on the starting line, and seeing Erica Enders out as a first pair, you might ask why that is, and it's based on your qualifying. Remember, the top 10 are placed in the first session. Number 1 and 2 would be at the end of the session. Then it's based on what you ran the previous session. So Erica did not go down the track, thus she was the first pair out and laid down that nice 657 after she got it all together. Dave Connolly gave her a nice setup there.
Yeah, they couldn't get the car to fire to even come up to the line to make a run in that first session. And Erica tweeted just before getting in the car for this that her guys had found the problem, they had fixed it. But wouldn't you know, Twitter doesn't allow you a long enough enough characters so that you can give an answer as to what happened. And but they did get it fixed, and obviously looked pretty good. And she has a lot of confidence this weekend. Says she's got a lot of horsepower and she can win this weekend.
The old universal racer answer, it broke.
She done blowed up, Paul.
Yeah. Neither one in the top 12. And right away, Grace has to jump out of it. We'll see where Frank goes. Frank runs a 671, 203 miles an hour. Not good enough to change anything. Well, look who's got a headset and a microphone down at the top end now. It's Erica Enders. Hi, Erica. How's everything going?
A little bit better now that we're in the show going into tomorrow with a little bit of chance of rain. A little bit stressed out after that first run.
I was going to say, what happened in that first session?
I went to fire. My guys always pull the power on in the back of the car. I flipped my computer switch on just to make sure I have a shift light and gauges and line lock, and I had nothing. I had no power to the car. I could fire the car, but no computer, nothing that I needed to run. So Vic made the call, said we're not going to go. They tried to jump in there and fix it, and Mike was kind enough to slow his process down a little bit, but we couldn't get to it. It was fixed within a minute when we got back to the pit. It was a loose relay in the switch panel, so just one of them stupid little deals that'll prevent you from running at the top. So, but we got down, and we're excited about tomorrow.
So you were watching the weather all day today.
Yes.
You wanted to make sure this session would happen.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, well, obviously that's why you were stressed out, thinking maybe you only had 2 sessions. But you got Dave Connolly calling the shots, and he knows how to win here in Reading. So that's got to help your confidence, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, I love having Dave in my corner. He's a great guy, really smart. And I've got all the confidence in him and my guys standing behind me. So very thankful. Wasn't worried at all about that last run, but he came on the radio. He's like, take it down no matter what, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I let the clutch out, bogged a little bit, and that's why we threw that 57 up there. Wasn't what we were hoping for, but there's always tomorrow.
And Erica, John Kernan here, and I know you and I were talking in the pits earlier this afternoon, and we like to make a big deal that when you win, and everybody says you will win, you'll be the first female to win in Pro Stock. What about you? Are you tired? And I know you and I address this, but I want to address this for our fans watching here. Are you tired of that kind of talk? Do you just want to be considered a racer?
I do. I mean, it's a double-sided sword. You play the cards you're dealt. I'm an only female in Pro Stock, and obviously it's something that you talk about, and we've had that monkey on our back for a long time, and we've been trying like hell to get it off. And, we've got a great race car, got a great team, and we're going to get there. I promise you. I hope it's this year so we can get one of them little silver guys. But, I don't know. It's cool to hear it. I mean, I'll love it when it's in the history books and I'm the first female to win in Pro Stock. But after that, I always have said when I put the helmet on, everything's equal. It doesn't matter. So I guess a little bit of both.
Hey, Erica, it's Lewis here, Stat Guy. Do you remember back in 2005 when you won your first round of competition over Tricky Ricky? What was that like? Do you remember any of the details?
It was kind of like getting this first win off our shoulders. It was something that everybody was talking about, so we rolled in here. And back then with Victor, again, in 05, I had a really great race car, a great team, and we were able to hold him off in the first round here. And once that happened, the rest of the things just fell into place. First to qualify #1 in the top half of the field, go to the final, blah, blah, blah. So just one of those deals. It was very exciting to come here, and Conley, like you guys said, won here last year. So I think Cagnazzi has won here the last 4 years. I don't know, Stat Guy, you probably know that better than I do, but over dinner last night we were talking about it a little bit, and that was one of the points in the conversation.
Survey says yes, by the way. You got that one right.
Let's do 5.